Welcome back to the Empty Netters Pod, everybody. We're recording an episode today. We're here in front of the TD Garden. We're doing a watch party for Bruins Panthers Game 3. We're going to be at the Harp. We got merch. We got pod gear. This is going to be the best day of my entire life. We're going to head down the street to the Harp right now, rip this pod live. Come with us. Let's go. All right, guys, we're at the Harp, one of the best bars in Boston, right across the street from the Garden. We're going to rip the podcast. We're going to talk to some fans, do some merch giveaways, drink some beers. It's going to be a good time.
I can't wait. Look at this. Playoff season starts here. Netters Pod happens here. Going to be a real big day.
Some would call it the best combination in hockey.
All right, here we are at the Harp in Boston. We're right across the street from the TD Garden. We got a live rendition of the Empty Netters podcast coming at you right now. But before we get into it, we got to, as always, hear from our sponsors, Shift Hockey. These guys are changing the game in the stick world, like we have talked about multiple times. If you are a hockey player, don't care what age, don't care what level, Shift Hockey is the only option for you because they are bringing you the most high-quality sticks on the market and cutting the price completely in half. They have changed the game for myself and thousands of others, and it's only growing.
If I may say so myself, I actually had a pretty electric tuck with my Shift stick the other night.
You sure did.
And I actually am really loving the color, Dan. That color has grown on me so much. It's so identifiable out on the ice. And I want to talk to the boys. I want to get them to do a reverse, like put that cream in the bottom, that cream color in the bottom and the black up top. That's my next mission for them. But that color, that's flashy, baby.
Yeah. Not only are they changing the game with price, they're changing the game with style.
Oh, my God.
Your gear wear is going to go through the roof. And guys, again, like we said, it's a no-brainer. We use these sticks. They're top-notch, top quality. Go to www.shifthockey.com/netters and then pump in that promo code NETTERS, netters at checkout, and you're going to save 10% on top of the already slashed hockey stick prices. Get on board with Shift just like we are.
It's incredible. You will not regret it.
Not regret it. All right. Let's do this. We got a live podcast here at the Harp. We're set up at this unbelievable bar. People are rolling in. This is going to be an absolute time. Let's get right into the playoffs, dude.
Actually, before we even do that, I have a question for you and for Emily, kind of. You just said it. I've been saying this over and over. We're like, we have this live podcast. We're not live. Like, this is recorded.
No, but there's like a full-blown audience.
Right, but so is that what you call it still? Like, I've genuinely been wondering. I'm like, we're live, but I'm like, we're not live.
And in a live studio audience pod.
We have a live studio audience.
Studio audience podcast.
Yeah. So we're coming to you on tape delay with a live studio audience.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
But dude, like Dan said, we said twice a week, every series, every game. That's why we're doing this. This is no brush over some games. This is going deep on everything. That's what you wanted. That's what you're going to get, and we are ready. And Dan, can we please start with Avs Kraken?
Yes, we absolutely can.
You know why I'd like to start with Avs Kraken?
Because I humiliated myself?
Because I told you that they have spunk. And they do.
They do. They have tons of spunk, dude. And here's the thing, man. I called the Avs in a sweep. I just didn't think the Kraken were ready for playoffs. They absolutely smacked me in the mouth, dummied me over the boards, dropped me on the bench, and they won game one in emphatic fashion, and then got out to a 2-0 lead in game two. I thought I was toast, dude. I thought it was going to be the other sweep.
Yeah.
A reverse sweep.
Because it was, I believe, game one, Kraken won 3-1. It was 1-1 after, going into the third, I think. 1-1 going into the third, and they didn't shy away at all. Like, that's that moment where you're like, okay, yeah, you're the young wildcard team. This is the defending cup champs. You come out with one period and you get bitch slapped because that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
They won that game, and then they went up 2-0 in the first of game two. And I was like,
yeah,
dude, you are in big trouble.
Dude, it was crazy, but I'll say this, man. Like, the Kraken showed this season that they don't give a shit that they're a new team. They kind of got that mojo that Vegas had in their first year where they were like, yeah, we're an expansion team. Don't give a shit. I think they've got the energy of being in a cool-ass city. They got a bunch of good players. We talked about McCann potting 40 this season is such a huge monster breakout season.
Sneaky 40.
Sneaky 40s, dude. We love sneaky 40s. And I think it's cool that the Kraken were just like, yeah, we're playing the Cup champs from last year. We don't give a shit, dude. We're going to come out hot. We're going to come out hard. And that's what they've done. I will say this, game two, if you're the Avs, honestly, weirdly enough, man, going down 0-2, I wouldn't worry about it that much. I don't think the Crack Den has a reputation yet for you can't handle barn games over here. They've never even had a playoff
And
barn
they've
game.
been bad at home. I said that
They
last
have
time.
been bad at home.
They've bad home record.
I do think game 1 for them, I mean, game 3 in the series, but game 1 as a first playoff game ever,
Pretty
the
sick,
Kraken's going to be filled with crackheads.
Yeah.
And it's
Junkies
going
up
to be
in there, dude.
an electric,
The junkies going hard.
A very electric environment. So I don't think the Avs were like, shit, we have to win this game, but it is a bad look. Bad future issues for the Kraken when it's Cale Makar and then Nichushkin getting the Avs back in that game. Like, immediate draw, pass over to Makar, clap bomb on net, gets in, and then that goal by Nichushkin was so sick. And then Devon Taves with a through-a-screen snipe far side gets them the win 3-2. It was just the big boys came out and got a big win. And you just hope that they're not awake now.
Dude.
It's kind of like you look at, we're in Boston. We got to shout it out. Boston plays Vancouver in the Cup in 2011, and they go down 0-2. And it was just like you couldn't get by Luongo. And then game 3, you got that first goal.
12 past Luongo.
Yeah, the monkey off the back was like, okay, we did it. So it's like those big guys get going. And I know it's early. It's game 2, but it's like that's just big for Colorado.
It's interesting you say that because sometimes I thought you were about to say this because we get a Celtics game on tonight here in Boston, or they're away too, but it's going to be on. Everyone's fired up about that. And whenever you're watching a basketball game and you're winning, let's say your team's winning at half, but then you see the other team shooting 20%.
Yeah,
I always hate that because you're like,
they're gonna heat up.
Obviously, that's not sustainable. And so you're right. Nichushkin did have that big goal, but I was thinking, I thought you were going here. If you're the Kraken, you will rue the day you blew that 2-goal lead because Moose had that goal in game 1.
Yeah,
that's it. And Nate Dogg hasn't scored. Moose hasn't done anything else. You're lacking some big firepower guys on the I don't think Makar has a goal yet. He has that apple, but I'm like, you need, if you're the Kraken and none of those guys have contributed yet, and you didn't grab both, and you were up 2.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, oh my God, dude.
This might be a hot take, but I am here to say I think that might be the worst loss in Kraken playoff history. There's a chance, dude. I don't want to be dishing out hot takes over here.
These Seattle kids' grandchildren will be talking about that L
when we drop that L in game 2 to Colorado.
And let me go even deeper for you, Dan.
Talk about the power play, dude.
The
power
Avs,
play is that because that's, I don't mean to cut you off, but the power play is another one of those things that's going to change for one team or both.
Avs 0 for 4 in the series, Kraken 0 for 5 in the series. That could swing it. If somebody,
absolutely,
I don't want to bury this here, but I had Avs in 6. You had the sweep. I had Avs in 6 early. I still do. So I'm not that worried about it here. But if one of those power plays goes off, that could swing it.
Could.
And the best part about the series for me is even with that loss, Seattle thinks this is a damn fight, dude. This is full Rocky. Like, they are here to play.
Yeah.
And I think we said they'll fight you for. I knew they would, but this has been, I don't think the Avs are ready for this. And the Avs are still giving me that, like, we're warming up vibe. They're like, whatever, dude. It's like the first round, we're going to figure it out. But they can't do that forever. They did it half the fucking regular season.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, yo, it's time to go here. So that will be interesting. Here's another point I actually really liked. The Avs had 41 shots on goal, dude. And in that last game, Grubauer had 34 saves in game 1, 38 saves in game 2. That was a major question mark for me coming into this series.
I agree.
Into the season for the Kraken.
I think Grubauer, we talked about goalie pedigree a couple episodes ago. I think Grubauer in these first 2 games has actually done a remarkable job of showing everyone how he won a cup, how he was the goaltender on a Stanley Cup winning team. He's had 2 good games, so I'm feeling pretty good if I'm the Kraken, being like, our goalie's playing well. We've got a shot here. This is a series.
Yes.
I would not have said this, and we'll see after game 3, after game 4, but right now, this is a series. And I'm like, shit, all right, if I'm Colorado, my butthole's puckered up a little tight right now. I don't think it's the sweep that I thought it was going to be. I'm on edge.
I guess that's not really a long flight to Seattle, but they're not sitting well on those planes.
No, they got a serious case of Seattle Kraken hemorrhoids right now because that team's not laying down, and that's a good thing.
I am predicting, I still think 6, like I said, but I'm predicting a split in Seattle. Like, I think this comes back 2-2. And then maybe the Avs take it from there. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Kraken take one at home.
No, same. It's like this team, like I said, smacked me in the mouth. I think that they have shown Colorado they're here to play. I really do. Regardless of the loss, I think that 2-0 jump was a huge statement. It's weird to be able to say you made a statement in a loss like that, but they did. I think that they were like, listen, dude, we're not going to be a rollover team for you.
We have a couple series that are coming up that we're about to talk about that I feel similarly
about
that. Productive L's. and they will rue the day, as I said, that they dropped that one. But productive L that if you get dummied by the Avs in that game, it's a different story. Colorado goes, okay, total fluke first game, and
absolutely
this is over in 5.
And if you're Seattle and you get dummied, you're like, oh shit. Like it's that moment where you woke up the Giant and you're like, oh fuck, we are in trouble now.
Look for 2-2 coming back to
Colorado.
Colorado.
2-2. Let's stay in the West. Let's kick it to Stars Wild.
This series I have a ton to say about.
There's a lot going on in this series.
Game 1, I think, was happening while we were recording the last episode.
It was.
But game 1, 3-2 Wild win. Krill on the board, Robo on the board. I had the saves. Gustafsson makes 46 saves. Otter makes 50 saves. Double OT. Honestly, you want to protect home ice at all costs. You want to get off on the right foot. The winner of game 1 wins a lot of series. But honestly, that was a incredible hockey game that neither of those teams should feel bad about at all. Just a great game.
Yeah.
But game 2, if you're Dallas and at home, you're like, we have to win this game. I no regrets on game 1. Nothing to hang my head about. But if you don't win this one, you're in big trouble, and they do. They responded with 7-3. Hintz with a hattie.
He said, Rupe got a hattie. He's got 4 on the off. Sagan and Ben both got on the board,
which is huge.
Which is massive. Like you got those dudes. Like I said, like you've got guys like Sagan and Jamie Benn playing not on your top line. You're sitting pretty, and if they're now getting in the action, that's really good. I want to talk about here maybe the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in the playoffs. Gustafsson. Netminder for the Minnesota Wild.
Heard of him.
Arguably the second best goaltender all season.
I would say
numbers-wise, he's right behind Ullmark all season long. This guy stands on his head, makes 46 saves in that game 1 double OT tilt. And then the Wild go like this. We're going to sit you down game 2.
Have a seat.
Gus, gonna let you
put a towel around your neck.
Gonna take a quick rest. Work the gate, buddy. After a win, after a playoff double OT win, they sit this guy down, and ho-hum, wouldn't you know it, you get absolutely shit-pumped 7-3.
On 31 shots, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Flowers, 24 saves, 31 shots.
I've got a question for you. A, if you're Flower, how are you feeling about that performance?
You're humiliated. He said it. He said he's embarrassed.
Okay, that's A. C, if you're Wild fans,
3,
how do you feel about that decision? And 4, what are you doing if you are the coaching staff of the Minnesota Wild?
So, what's his name? Look that up. What's the Wild's coach's name? Evans? Or it's something like that.
I know this. But you got Billy G in the GM's office.
So, here, I actually want to have a conversation with you about this because I tweeted about this. Yeah. Oh, hey, we have a Twitter. Empty Netters Pod.
Dean Evison,
thank you. Empty Netters Pod. Check us out on Twitter. We're firing off live shit during the game.
We are.
We're geared up.
Are you proud of us, Em? We're on Twitter.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a very new thing.
Oh my God, I'm so proud.
We follow 70 hockey accounts that we really like.
Yeah.
And
well, it's a good thing you have a Twitter because you've had a lot of tweets about you in the past couple days.
And correct. And we started game 1.
We don't talk about that around here. We don't talk about a certain.
If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
We don't talk about a certain major musical artist who currently has a hit out on us.
That was our first Twitter notification, by the way. It was something about that, and I was like, oh, God, I shouldn't have even started this.
Okay,
but we're firing off tweets into the ether. Check it out. There's some good reads in there, but I tweeted about this because here's my issue, and the Wild said this, too. Fleury started, I think I wrote it down, Fleury started 45 games this year, maybe? Yeah, 45 games. And Gus started 37.
Shit. Hold on real quick. Dr. Locks is in the building.
Oh, my God. This is going to become good.
Dr. Locks just entered the bar.
Just swagged in.
Vin, the man himself.
The soundtrack changed. The lights flickered.
He's got a tall Dunkin' in hand. Coming in hot.
5 creams, 10 sugars.
Let's go. All right, hit me. Hit me with what?
Flowers started 45 games. Gus started 37.
Yeah.
Point being, and to be very clear, because I don't want to talk to the stats here, since February 1st, Gus has had 200 more shots with a 940 save percentage to Flowers' 905. Gus took the job. It's been his job. He's been the better goalie. He's been second best goalie in the league. He's been certainly the better goalie in the second half of the year.
Yeah.
But the Wild have been doing this all season. They have been rotating starts all season. It led them to a 103-point year, a great run. And I get in the playoffs, you roll the hot hand. But to me, it's hard to argue because Flowers has all this playoff experience. Gus is 24, dude. He's 24, and Flowers can't play a full playoff anyway. He's 38, but there isn't the hot playoff hand doesn't exist yet, in my opinion. If this, let's say Gus had played 8 of their first 10 games and won 7 of them, and then they were like, actually, we're going to sit you down for Flower. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing, dude? This, to me, was a completely fine move. They stole a road win already. They've been rotating all season, and you got popped in the mouth. Gus goes back in. I actually tweeted at the Wild today being like, who's starting? Because if they start Flowers today, then yes, literally execute everyone on the staff. But if Gus goes back...
if they start Flower today, that would be absolutely insane.
It was actually crazy to me, Dan, that he didn't announce it immediately. Like, being like, it's game time. And I'm like, shut the fuck up and just say Gus is playing.
Yeah.
But dude, if Gus plays today and you win, fine. Now you can ride the hot hand. I have no issue. There were articles like, this is the most baffling coaching decision of all time. And I'm like, he had a good game. He had a good playoff game. Yes, absolutely. But he just played 5 playoff periods. You've been rotating all year. Stick to the plan. I had no issue with Flowers going in there.
Stick to the basics.
Stick to the basics. He got lit up, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
Now go sit down, Flower.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't see you for a little while. But calling that the most baffling coaching decision of all time made no sense to me at all.
Okay. I think you make a lot of good points. The thing that stands out to me most, I would say, is this. You've got to announce that pre-series, I think. If you're the Wild,
to the fans or to the team,
just to the world, dude. Like, because you got asked questions like that. They go like this: who's starting game 1? And they go Gustafsson. You go like this: Gus is getting the pipes game 1, but we're alternating.
What if they said that internally? Are you less mad? Like if the team knew, they were like 100%.
I know that the team knew.
Yeah,
there's no way the team didn't know, so it's fine. Because this is one of those things. It's like, who gives a shit about the media as long as the team is fine?
Yep.
And I'm sure they're fine. You make a really good point with the fact that they rotated all season long. That is a huge factor here, and that is a huge element of the times are changing in the NHL. There are no longer 60-game goalies, and that's smart. I think it helps. I think it helps teams stay healthy. I think it helps teams stay fresh, catch opposing teams off guard. We have yet to really see, however, a Stanley Cup winning team that goes, yep, we're sticking with the tandem through the playoffs. We have not seen it work yet. And I think that there's possibly a reason for that. I get why over an 82-game schedule, it makes sense to go, 45 and 35, whatever it is. You're not going 60 and 22 anymore. I get that. The playoffs are a lot of games. No question about it. But at the end of the day, man, it's 16 wins. 16 wins to get to a fucking Stanley Cup. And part of me is like, dude, you've got to let a goalie get hot as shit, and you've got to let that goalie get in the other team's head. I think that's a huge factor here. We're going to get into this with a specific series later that I have a lot to fucking say about. But man, I just think it is... The dream scenario is this, right? You go in the first series that you play.
Yep.
And you split your goalie tandem. We got a lot of good goalie tandems in the NHL. You look at Minnesota with Gus and Flower. You look at Boston with Ullmark and Swayman. You hope that you go Series 1, sweep, and both goalies played 2. Because then you go into whoever you're playing next, and the other team goes, both of these goalies are 2-0.
Yeah.
They're both feeling great. But if you don't have that, what is the best case scenario?
Can I give it to you?
I mean, I think your answer is like, let's say you beat a team in 6 and your goalies are 2-1. Yeah, like, I mean, yes, dude. There are so many options where you're like, this is great. Everyone's doing great. But the bad to me is so sketchy. Let's use Minnesota as an example. You start Gus next game and Gus loses. And now you have these goalies, and I'm not saying these goalies are all mentally weak, but there is the fear that Gus goes, I had mojo and you took it away from me. Mm-hmm. Now I'm coming off a loss. And then you go to Flower in game 4, and Flower's like this, I got piss pumped for 7, and you want me to go back in after you sat me right after that? I just think there's too many moving pieces for the confidence of these goalies to feel good about this move.
I actually like that argument at the end there where in the negative it goes kind of bad. But to give you your best case scenario, if it goes 6 and Gus goes 3-1 and Flower goes 1-1, then you go, great, it's Gus's job moving forward. But I'm glad we that's why I thought they did it. And here's my only other counter too. If Flower stood on his head yesterday and they beat Dallas again, the whole world goes,
oh my God.
So much respect for Minnesota sticking to the basics.
And that's why I said I think it's a good point. It is a good... If it all goes well, you look like a problem for fans. Like, you look like a big problem.
And it just doesn't rattle me that much if I'm a Wild fan or if I'm Gus to go, hey, dude, we're back home. You're starting game 3. Like, I don't think Gus is like, dude, you fucked me. You know, like goalies are head cases for sure, but I just think Gus can fucking go home and play goal in game 3 and win and be like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So it was a big move. I'm not denying that. It was a big move. And you're 100% right. We have not seen this. Certainly the league is transitioning towards this more tandem, but we haven't seen a team win the cup ever tandeming the whole way through.
Exactly.
And I don't think, that's my only last thing to say about it, I don't think they imagined they were going to tandem the whole way through. I just think they were going to tandem to start because they don't want to give Gus 30 more games in a row. So they were like, let's get him some breathers early. And if we make a run here, yeah, it's going to be Gus, or one of their jobs, presumably Gus's, Western Conference Finals and on, or something like that. So whatever. Everybody calm down in Minnesota. I didn't hate it. Flowers played like shit, and he knows it. If he gets another look, he'll play better. And if he doesn't, he won't play again ever. So, and whatever. But that's not why you're going to win or lose this series. If you're going to lose this series, it's because you're worse than the Stars.
It's true.
And actually, if you're going to lose this series, I have a fucking thought. Maybe stop letting them score on every power play they take.
Dude,
yes. I took the data on this. These Stars, the Wild finished with the 10th best penalty kill in the league, 82%. And keep in mind, by the way, the Bees were first at like 86. Like, these percentages are tight. You know, like the Wild have a fucking very good PK. The Stars are 5 for 11 so far in this series. If you want to look somewhere, look away from your fucking goalie tandem and look how horrible you are at special teams. Because I promise you, you will lose this series if you give up a fucking power play goal every other time you take a penalty. That is unheard of and not sustainable.
It's not at all. The other thing I want to talk about with this, before we move on from this series, is Ryan Suter.
Yes, okay. Because I was about to make a joke that the Wild are giving out fucking power play goals like it's free samples at Costco.
They are.
Fucking pineapple mushroom for Emily.
Would you like bacon wrapped scallops?
Cheese and crackers here. You have a few.
Yeah.
But you know who else is giving shit away is Ryan Suter's giving away cross checks to the fucking spine like they're Costco free samples.
Feeding composite sticks to spinal columns. It's unbelievable.
Dude, there's going to be more fusions. And Tiger Woods' whole body's going to have less fusions than the fucking 100% Wild roster. I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Hit me with them.
First thought. Where are you at? First thought. Well, should that have been a penalty? Do you want to see that called in the playoffs?
No, I don't. It's one of those things. We've seen a few soft penalties already in this series, which is like moderate, or in these playoffs, which is moderately frustrating. But at the end of the day, you can't let everything go because then it gets absolutely insane. So I'm glad that wasn't called. It's one of those things you keep an eye on, though, because you do worry about. I mean, dude, we played the game a long time. You got to be hockey tough. You got to be hockey tough, especially in the playoffs. That shit hurts.
It's one of the most painful things in the game. Dude, I'm not kidding.
I've broken ribs on plays like that. People have broken wrists on plays like that.
They get over the back of your pants.
Yep.
And then under whatever you're wearing up top. And just directly on your spine.
So you got to keep an eye on it. You can't let it fly all the time. So I'm fine with it. I think Suter has been a pest it's all series. It's 2 games. But both games, he's been out of control in front of the net. And you're seeing it a lot. Ekblad was giving it to Marchand in game 2. We saw, before he went out, Hedman was dishing him out in front of the net against the Maple Leafs. So I love it, dude. As a defenseman, set the tone, because that shit gets in people's head big time.
Oh,
when you go to camp out in front of the net and you know that you're going to get shellacked like that, you think about it every time you go to the front of the net, and you give it back. You get a retaliation call. Like, it's good shit. I'm into it.
That's my question, though, because that you just led right into my second point. I don't think that krill shot, that was actually a sick term that I just said by accident, because that was a kill shot. But
that was a krill shot.
I don't think that krill shot was a dive at all. I genuinely think he gets a stick broken over his back and eats ice.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
And to me,
anyone who's going to tell me that you can take a composite stick getting snapped over your back and be like this, dude, you're fine.
Yeah. And some people dive in front of the net. It happens all the time. But that one in particular, the specific play that I'm talking about, that the whole internet's talking about, that's a penalty to me, dude. Like, you literally have flattened a dude from behind without the puck. If that was in the middle of the ice stand going through the neutral zone, he just came up behind Krill and buried him. That's a call every time.
I completely agree.
Why is it not a call in front of the net? That pisses me off. And I get, this is why I wanted to ask you specifically, I get as a defenseman, it is hard to clear people out. I play D in men's league. There's no hitting. And even, I'm like, I mean, how do you move these guys? I've never done this before. That sucks. Genuinely. It is a hard job. But I just don't think it's fair. I'm talking as a whiny forward here, but I don't think it's fair that you have to go. You said it perfectly. When I go to the front of the net, I have to start going, well, I am going to break my L5 vertebrae now. And I'm like, that's not fair. That's illegal. I shouldn't have to break my L5 vertebrae. You should have to come up with another way to get your body fucking lower than mine and push me out of the way.
Yeah.
You spaz.
I think it's all right. He's not a spaz. That's how everyone has ever played hockey, and he didn't get called for it, so he wins in this situation.
You're right.
That's why I said I'm fine with the one no call. If you do that 1,000 times, yeah, you got to start calling it. But at the same time, dude, like, it's fucking hockey, man. You're allowed to be physical. You're allowed to jostle in front of the net. You're not allowed to cross-check someone, yes. But at the same time, you're standing still and you're just giving it to someone. That's all. It's not like Sutter came from...
he wasn't a running start.
Yeah, it's not like Ryan Suter came 5 strides into it. Like, no, he was standing there and was giving it to Krill, and I'm sorry, he's way bigger than Krill.
Yeah. Hey, you just hit my hip, though. Give it to my pants right here.
You're coming off like a bitch, dude.
It's just illegal, dude.
No, it's not. It's not illegal. Like that. Those are one of those gray area things. And yes, it should be called sometimes. And that's what it will. But if you're acting like this, that's going to get called every time. You're going to be first in the picket line going like this. You're calling too many penalties. Well, like those things need to be, you got to do it here and there. And they will do it here and there. If you think Suter is going to be able to feed someone in front of the net like that next game without a call, you're dumb. Okay. That gets called next game. So
good, because I was gonna say I would
save these complaints for the next time. I would take
the ref skating by, and I'm sure the Wild staff, the Wild coaches, the Wild players were all walking up, going like this: "Yo, keep an eye on that, please.
Absolutely.
Next time." So even if it had happened again in that game, I would have expected a call. And I'll live in that world, Dan. I'll live in the world where I take one to the spine on the first period, and then I go, "Yo, never again."
No question.
And I'm fine with that as long as they do it. Because if you swallow that whistle for a whole game, for a whole series, I'm like, you're giving, in my opinion, that is an unfair advantage to the defenseman, because if I'm not getting a call there's literally nothing I can do about that.
Yeah,
I'm just getting flattened in the lower back.
Where do you stand on former teammate vibes?
I'm so glad you asked, because that was my first thought when I saw that. I was like, how could you do that to your boy, dude? And we have had the luxury and the curse, I don't even know what to call it, I guess it depends on your opinion, of just, growing up with kids and then dispersing into some elite level programs and then you play against them. And it was always weird for me, admittedly, and that's the lack of killer instinct in me. I hand up like I'm a clown, but it was always weird smashing one of my buddies in the corner when I was like, "Hey, sorry, that was crazy."
I couldn't be more on the other side of this. Dude, like, I think a lot of people relate to this. I don't know what it is. I personally think for most people, there's no one you want to beat more than your best friends. Like when you and I would play,
I agree with that. Even.
When you and I would play shit, like I get fucking pissed at you playing ping pong. Yeah. Like when I'm playing the people closest to me, I want to beat them more than anything. And I have played at levels where guys I played with in high school, I then played in college, played in juniors, and dude, I got fired up for those games so much more. And I don't know why. I think it's because there's people that on both sides. Yeah. People know that you guys are playing each other, and I'm like, I need to win this.
Yeah, right.
I need to win.
Everyone's talking about this when we come home. But Dan, to win though, right? Not to cheap
break
shot.
Someone's back.
That's all I was going to say. And I would even argue, and I wonder what you think about this, especially playing D. Let's say, I don't want to name drop, but like, let's say one of our boys was playing in a game and you're playing D and he's coming across the middle, suicide, ankle high suey, and you are stepping up to rip his head off clean. Yeah. I think you might even have hesitated if it was an actual friend and he straight up wasn't looking and you were like, this is going to like hurt him.
100% yes. So like I said, like, I want to win. I'll get competitive. And if one of my former teammates rubbed me in the boards hard, I'd be like, "This, all right, I'm giving it to you next time." Yep. But I never look out for it. Yeah. And if I'm in front of the net and you, for example, were camped out in front of the net, I would not be doing that shit.
And I think you would try as hard as you could to clear me out, but I just don't think you'd put one in my lower back.
Agree. So part of me is like, Suter, you're a savage, dude, and I respect the shit out of him. Like, he is like that. Suter and Kirill in that situation is De Niro and Pacino in Heat, where he's like this: if it comes between me and you, dude, you are going down. And I'm like, correct, dude.
And that's probably the attitude to win a cup. And especially, dude, in the NHL, a lot of these guys are buddies. Like, you can't just be being like, oh, anyone's my friend, I'm going to let have the puck, because you're friends with half the league, so it gets too complicated. But yeah, I was shocked that
it was not.
Yeah, he went pretty hard. That's been a super entertaining series. And
Vegas Jets.
Okay,
who you got? Who you feeling?
Jets. I am feeling, again, Empty Netters Pod Twitter, I had put a power ranking up of teams that lost game one going into the other night that needed game two the most. And I had Vegas least. I was like, they need this the least because I just felt like
I
even
feel
down
that,
2-0 to
actually.
the Jets, I was like, you could still win this series.
Yeah, I feel
no
that.
one wants to go down 2-0, obviously, but I was like, you could still beat the Jets if you go down 2-0. I was very surprised they got pumped 5-1 in the opener.
There have been a lot now of lopsided scorelines in so many of these games that I would never have expected. And that's stupid. I think if you go back and look at plenty of series, there's crazy lopsided scorelines that you're like, oh, holy shit, how did that happen? But it still always catches me off guard every year. It's like,
And that was a fun game for me, actually, because all my boys were on the score sheet. Kyle Connor with the first from Morrissey and PLD. PLD got one from Wheeler. Wheeler got his own. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
That was a big-time empty netters game. Like, just like goals everywhere.
And then Vegas obviously responds, wins 5-2. Carlson scores again. Jack on his way to ramming shrimp up Dan's nostrils.
Relax, dude.
Tallied his first.
He's got
his first. Yeah. Jack.
Eichel watch hot in the streets in the playoffs. He's got 1.2 games. He needs 6 more, dude.
Well, he gets 2 rounds first of all.
Sure, if he gets out of it.
Yeah, but that was nice. I was happy for him. Happy to see him do it. Here was my biggest takeaway, Dan. I said to you that, and Vegas obviously knows this, it felt like the Canes Islanders series in that I'm like, Vegas is better, but they have Hellebuck. The Jets have Hellebuck.
Yeah.
You know you're going against this elite goalie. The Knights get pumped in the first game, and they take 17 shots on goal in the game. Here's the period breakdown. 8-7-2. 2 shots on goal. Down 3-1 entering the third period. They take 2 shots on goal against Hellebuck.
Dude, you're not going to win like that.
It's the most unthinkable. The Kings the other night had 3 shots on goal in the first period against the Oilers, but at least that's which is also unacceptable, soldier.
And
but
dude,
at least that's the first period.
It's the playoffs. None of these teams are bad, so you have zero excuse for getting 2 pucks on net.
It's
start firing it, dude.
And they won big in game 2, but check this out. They get outshot in the first period, 17-8.
Yeah.
They lost game 1 at home and come out in the first period and get dummied like that. And then, I don't know what Bruce Cassidy did in between periods there, but he came in and he took their hockey pants down and he licked his hand and gave each one of them a little spanking, dude. And their bottoms came out all red and sore.
Yeah.
And then they outshot the shit out of the Jets the rest of the way. 19-10 in the second, 12-6 in the third for 39 shots on goal to the tune of 5 goals past Hellebuck and a win. So I don't know if he needs to spank them every game, but something has to get them fired up.
That gets the award for best in-game adjustment so far of the playoffs because that was a huge switch. Those shot totals came out after that first period, and I was like, holy shit, dude, Jets are going up 2-1. Or 2-0. This is nuts. And then Cassidy worked his magic, dude. He got out the puck. He got out the frat paddle, and he gave them all their bottoms a little spanking. And then it was that.
There's some more tendy drama we got to talk about. But before we do that, I just want to talk about tendies in this game. Stats. Vegas 0-for-7 so far on the power play this year. 3 chances in game 1, 4 in game 2.
Not good.
Hey, that's not great, boys.
Guys, you're getting a bunch of peepers, and you're scoring 0 goals. Not good.
The Jets do have the 6th best PK in the league, 82.4%, and Vegas had the 18th best power play, which I didn't realize was that bad with that many stars. You'd think they'd be at least a top half of the league power play team. I also saw a crazy stat that Vegas had the least amount of power play opportunities in the entire NHL this year. Like, they just don't get calls against them. What a crazy stat.
I always hate that take because I'm sure there's part of it that's don't get calls, but I think that there's part of play that draws penalties. Look at it the other side.
Fair.
You're not drawing enough penalties.
Okay, so let's talk about this Tendy drama. So little Tendy drama in Vegas.
Yep.
For the refresher,
Quick, you don't need a refresher. Johnny Quick is in Vegas, and he should be starting every game.
He plays 10 games and does okay, right? And then insert Laurent Brossoit, former Edmonton backup, former Jets backup.
Yep.
Signed with Vegas last year, started 21 games last year and was bad. And then gets 11 starts this year, but 8 of them have been since March 25th. Finishes 6-1-1, including 5 in a row to lock up their 1 seed, and they turn to him.
Big time Alex Lyon vibes.
Yep, and you've got Johnny Quick. The talk about hot hand in. You got Johnny Quick sitting there, who you traded for, and then you start Brossoit in game 1.
Yeah,
and he gets lit the fuck up like a Christmas tree at home in a 5-1 drubbing. And I'm sitting there going like this. Well, at least Quickie's getting a shot in game 2, and not only do they start Brossoit in game 2? But Quick gets health bomb. And watches the fucking... He asks to go to Vegas to be on a contender, get some playoff action to close out his career, and now he's watching from the press box as Aiden Hill backs up Brossoit, and Aiden Hill hasn't seen the fucking ice since March 7th, dude. And Brossoit wins. And Brossoit has a sick game and wins.
This is one of those things where we don't know what's going on. We don't know all the moving pieces with this situation. But Quickie getting health bombed. Quickie not playing is crazy. Getting health bombed is crazy. It is one of those complicated moments where, like you said, his numbers are fine. His first 2
10 games,
His first 2 games in Vegas were phenomenal. his numbers in his 10 games have been fine. So it's not like he is playing lights out and you have to start him, but health bombing him and bringing Aiden Hill back in after he's been, getting his summer golfing plans ready. It's a bit shocking. But again, it's one of those situations,
right? Like,
we don't know what's up. I mean, he might be hurt. He might be whatever. And at the same time, dude, I don't give a fuck about that shit. Like, get out of here with the disrespectful stuff. I love Jonathan Quick, but dude, we don't know what's going on in practice. We don't know what's going on in the locker room. If Quickie is the third best tendy, both from a play standpoint and a mentality standpoint, you're health bombed. Yeah. I love Jonathan Quick, but we don't know what's going on. So, I'm not going to go, oh my God, you can't not dress Jonathan Quick out of respect. Dude, we're trying to win a Stanley Cup here. So fuck out of here.
Hop on the elevator, buddy.
Yeah, I'm like this. Sit in the press box and eat some fucking chicken fingers, dude. Like, this is, no one's going to feel bad for you. You're fine.
But I get big eyes on that. Just that story. Like, I think they play tomorrow night, but I'm just so curious where Quick is the rest of the way.
And I think that there's a, the Knights have a great fan base, and Winnipeg has one of the most low-key, potentially not low-key, best fan bases in the NHL. So I know our fans who are Jets fans, Knights fans are going to say, what are you talking about? But I would say from a general hockey fan standpoint, this series is one of the least watched. It's like people aren't dialed into Vegas, Winnipeg, and I'm here to tell you to change that tune, because these two teams playing together, I think, is going to be a fun-ass series.
Did you see PLD hammering the maple syrup on the bench?
I did.
Yeah. If you don't want to see that, what's wrong with you? Tune in.
PLD, man. Why are you trying to leave the Jets so bad?
Man.
They're a sick team.
He's a Montreal boy. He's a Montreal boy.
Get it.
Okay, let's go to Kings Oilers.
Yeah, let's take it to our little local shop.
That's our little nightcap tonight, baby.
Yeah.
That's the little after dinner.
Pour yourself a glass of cognac.
Port wine. Yeah.
Pour yourself a glass of cognac. Maybe a nice aperitif.
Yep.
Maybe a Negroni.
Woo!
Watch this Oilers-Kings game, because shit is spicy.
Kings massive come from behind theft, robbery.
Oh my
God.
Just stole it, and a really, really vintage Oilers meltdown.
Yeah,
like classic. That was just beautiful.
We got Skinner now.
That was beautiful. You'll love to see it.
And Kempe the man, our boy AI with the OT winner going insane.
Love to see that netter's bump.
Kopitar ties it with like 45 seconds left.
Yep.
Johnny on the spot. Oilers got to have it in game 2, and they do.
Boy, did they. Yep.
But again, and they held McDavid pointless in game 1 after he went only 7 regular season games pointless.
Yep.
Then he gets an immediate, disgusting dime on Draisaitl's goal on that power play to go up 2-0, and it had the feel. So last year, as a refresher, this series went 7.
Yeah.
The Kings stole game 1 in Edmonton 4-3, just like they did this year, and then game 2, Edmonton beat the brakes off them 6-0. And when McDavid made that pass to Draisaitl to put them up 2-0, I said, here we go again, 6-0 drubbing, pencil it in, automatic. And then, dude, the Kings fight back, grab one. You gotta fight for your right. Velarde.
Oh, wow.
Back in the lineup, tying the game at 2. And they go down, I think 4-2, because Kane got that empty netter, which counts. ENG is very important. But it was a 3-2 game, really. And I just think you saw the maturity and the growth of the Kings in that game right there. Not losing that game 6-0, just like they did last year.
Yes.
Is the world of difference.
That showed a lot of difference with this Kings team. I think, like you just said, a lot of these guys are ready. Velarde being ready for game 1 was massive.
Like, he came back game 2, right? Like that, yeah.
Velarde being ready for game 2, playing is absolutely huge. He's just he's a big gamer for them, and him coming out of his shell this season has been monster. No word on Fiala yet. We don't know if he's coming back for game 3.
Dude.
I think that's still going to be so painful for this team. You need that guy, but yeah, I think the way they played in game 1 changes our take a little bit. I think we both had Oilers in 6, and we talked about these injuries being a huge issue, but boom, scratch one of them off. Velarde is back.
Yep.
So that changes things a little bit. You said to me earlier today, you think this is going 7. I completely agree. I think there's a big time opportunity if the Kings get a win tonight in crypto.com. I would put money on that. If you're looking at lines right now, I've got the Kings tonight. I think that there is a chance that these guys look at game 2 loss and go, we did our job. We got our win in Edmonton. This is going to be a series, and we got to make sure that the Oilers know it. Let's talk about the power play in this series.
Yeah, can I be a little power play whore
Yeah,
again?
please.
So did you see, I think Tampa, actually I'll make you guess. Try to give me the top 4 power play teams in the league.
Oof, top 4 power play teams in the league have got to be Toronto, Tampa, Edmonton, and I don't think it's Boston.
Yeah, they actually kind of fell off. They started hot.
Yeah. Toronto, Tampa, Edmonton, and LA? Is LA
Yes,
in there?
wow, great job. That was really
Is
good.
that literally all 4?
Yes, not in order. So the Edmonton Oilers have
Yeah,
the
I
best
really
power
want to
play.
say that I did not know
that was really
for
awesome.
for the listeners right now.
The Oilers have the best power play in the league at a staggering 32.4%, which is, dude,
It is, but at the same time, it's not. I actually always love this stat because I'm like this, dude, I'm sorry. If you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl with a man advantage, you better score. The fact that it's not 100 is exactly ridiculous.
The Leafs are second at 26, which I just said the PK differences are decimals. That's a 6.4 percentage difference.
That is nuts.
So Leafs second, 26, Tampa third, 25, and then the Kings fourth. So they have a great power play.
Yeah, they have a fantastic
And by the way,
power
when
play.
Fiala slots right in on PP1 when he comes back. Like, that's a big deal. That's why these injuries matter. But the Oilers, 2 for 4 so far in this series on the power play. With a weapon like that, you have to stay out of the box if you're the Kings. Kings 2 for 10 on the power play, which is hurting them. You know, like, you have the 4th best power play in the league. You got to start. You got to keep up.
Yeah,
and
you
not,
do.
not that they're that far off their percentages, because it's hard to score on the power
really
play in
do.
this league. But that's a big deal. Both teams have a bad PK, so that's there. That's ripe for the taking. To talk goalies for a bit, I would say Korpisalo has been good. I know you wanted Phoenix, and we wanted all these changes to happen in LA, but Korpisalo's been good. I think Skinner's been good. I love to shit on Skinner, but I think both goalies have made some really big saves in really big moments.
Yeah, Skinner had pretty mediocre, like very middle of the pack numbers this year. I know Oilers fans like to fucking stroke him off and act like they finally got their big time goalie, but he has been great in these 2 games. Like, I can't say anything bad about it. It's been undeniably impressive so far. So huge goalie matchup that we're about to look at here.
My
which
closing
is nuts.
thought is this. I think that just like we said, the Oilers last year dumped game 1 at home, blew them out at home in game 2, and then blew the doors off LA in game 3.
Yeah.
So tonight, dude, is a massive statement if you're the Kings. Like, you kept it close in Edmonton in game 2, but you just, even if you split in LA, dude, I just feel like you want to win this game to be like, hey, we're here, dude. Like, I don't want the Oilers to roll over me the second we get home.
Mentality wise, I do agree, but I don't know, man. These 2 teams are so volatile, and I think Edmonton, it's nowhere near what Toronto deals with, but Edmonton has a playoff spook as well. And if you're the Kings and you drop this game, I don't think you care. I think you're looking at this game. Home ice doesn't really matter. You just need to split until you have to have one of those pivotal games. If I'm LA and you lose tonight, I'm not losing sleep over it. I do get you. I want to win. Obviously, you want to win every game.
Keep your foot on the gas.
You want to win because of the Edmonton spook. You go like this. If you win that game and Edmonton's down 2-1 and you're looking at another game in LA, you have the Oilers shaking a little bit. I think the Oilers need to win this game much more than LA does.
Okay, I like that take.
Much more.
The concern for me is, in the same way you said the Kraken are a little worried because the big guns on the Avs aren't really going yet.
Yeah.
How tall is a Smurf, Dan?
3 apples.
3 apples. Right now, the Kings have Connor McDavid just playing his little Smurf role. He's just got, I think he's got 1 apple.
Okay, here's a big question for you, dude. McDavid got 60 and then cooled off drastically. What did he end with? 64? 60?
As I predicted, by the way.
64, I think?
Yeah, I think he beat me by 1.
He beat me by 1. Does McDavid have a scoring problem?
Kid has 4 goals in his last, 12 something games, which is actually I would stroke myself off to if I could do that in men's league. But he was on a torrid pace and he's cooled off a bit. And if he's going to wear his little blue shirt and keep doing his Smurf routine, you're the happiest person in LA if you're the Kings. So for now, if he's going to stay in check, I think Brian posted that 2-on-1 where the Kings are like, do not let McDavid score.
Yeah.
So it's comical defense, but if you are going to keep him in check, you got to win these games. The Oilers can't be up 2-1, Dan, and have McDavid have a Smurf stat line.
Did I not say, and again, we'll see what happens, but we were talking about in our final season podcast episode, how they are technically in the last X amount of 90 days of the season, they are the best team. They're better than the Bruins.
Yep.
But I said all that matters is in playoffs is isolating him. You get in a 7-game series, you can kind of figure it out. He's got 3 points in 2 games. Their assists.
Is it 3?
Does he have 3 apples?
I don't think so. Oh no, I was saying I was giving him the benefit. I think he literally has 1 assist.
So okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I think he has 1 assist. So he's got 1 assist in 2 games. That is definitively keeping Connor McDavid in check.
Yes, and you have to win these games.
Yes. So, I would put my money, after watching his season, I would put my money on McDavid figuring out in a big way, and I'm scared tonight
Taking
about
time
him.
off. Yeah.
But you've done your job through 2, and you're 1-1. So Kings are doing a good job with Connor, and that is that is saying something, dude. That is huge. All right, let's get into the Eastern Conference with the biggest snooze fest series of the playoffs so far, as we all knew.
We tweeted about this too, and I'm ready to eat crow on it. So the Canes are up 2-0. They won 2-1 in the first game. They won a great game in overtime, 4-3, I think? I think it was 4-3.
I think that's right.
We clowned on Freddie Anderson and Ranta before the series, being like they're not good goalies. I thought Ranta's been good. He's been really good. I thought Sorokin's been really good.
Yeah.
The difference is, and the Canes are getting a ton of shots. Like Sorokin's taken most of the fire here, and he's been really good, but he hasn't been good enough if you're gonna upset the Canes as the Islanders.
He hasn't had those saves that are that make the Canes players go, Jesus Christ, what do I have to do to get by this guy?
He's diving with the paddle across the net, and they're getting some bad breaks. The fucking wrong Aho own goal.
Yeah.
It's just like lunacy,
Brutal stuff.
But Sorokin's been good. Both goalies have been good. I wrote down, Dan, I don't have a ton to say about this series, and I don't mean to shortchange the fans of these two teams.
Yeah.
I picked the Islanders in 6. That is definitely not happening now. I don't think the Islanders are out of it. I think they could win this thing in 7. I just don't think they're peeling off 4 straight against Carolina. So they could do it.
You're going back to the Isle, though, right? Like,
Yep.
What do we always say? It's not a series until someone loses at home.
Yep.
And this is one of those things, man. You've been on the wrong end of this a lot of times as fans. I don't care what team you're a fan of. 7-game series are crazy, dude. Mm-hmm. And you go down 0-2, and it's so easy to feel like the world is ending. And then you go home and you win 2, and you're like, oh,
right.
We did it. Look at that.
I think that in hockey, as we've seen, the 3-0 isn't the death sentence that it is in the NBA or some of these other leagues.
Yeah.
But to me, and this game's about to come on, it's been on in an hour, you have to win tonight if you're the Islanders.
Yes,
absolutely. You
absolutely.
really must win this.
This is a must-win game.
And one of the reasons you might is because those injuries are really piling up for Carolina.
Dude, unbelievable. You got Patches out, you've got Svechnikov out, and now you've got Teravainen out with a broken hand, needing surgery.
I'm pretty sure he has no points so far this series, and he wasn't a world beater this year.
What did he finish his season with? I think he had something.
I'll look it up.
I think he had either in the 40s or 50s in points, and that's no slouch, dude. Like, that's a good season. Losing this, but I might be wrong. If he's in like the 30s, then I'm like, okay, this isn't that much of a loss. But I think people predicted him to have a monster year, something in the 60, 70 point range, and he didn't quite hit that. But Teravainen going down, dude. That is
37 points, but in 68 games, 12 and 25.
Okay, that's what it was. I was like, his point per game clip was pretty good. So, yeah, that's not a huge season for him, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you want him in the lineup. And the bigger thing is, what it does is it just fucking changes everything, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he goes down, now you got to shuffle the line, someone's got to come up.
Right now. Yeah.
So, it's a wild situation. My one thing I have to say about this, I'm with you. I don't have a lot to say. We knew this was going to be a boring series. It's been pretty boring so far. New York Islanders, Sebastian Aho. When you are on a team that struggles scoring goals, you cannot be putting pucks in your own net. You simply cannot do it.
Cannot replace a Gary Bertier.
We knew going into this, and we knew going into this season, the New York Islanders don't score fucking goals. They do not score hockey goals. And I don't know how that is your thing as a team. That's something that you've got to figure out and fix. You went out and you got Bo Horvat. Great. Bo, get on the score sheet, buddy. You've got to start tucking some Genos here, because this team, if you want to win, like you said, tonight is must win, and that is a fact. I would venture to say this Islanders-Canes game is the most must-win game in the playoffs so far for any team.
I agree.
You have to win.
I agree.
And again, I'm not...
It's the only 2-0 series.
No. Wait.
Everybody's 1-1. That's kind of lit.
It is. No, Rangers are 2-0.
Oh, Rangers.
I was like, someone else is shit-pumping someone. There you go. It is... Yeah, I weirdly think that this is more must-win than the Devils. But maybe not.
It's a big one, though. And you're so right about the thing. The Islanders, they just have... Sometimes when you're watching a hockey game, especially for people that don't know the sport, and there's a lot of new fans in the playoffs, you go, How could you ever score in this? You just never seems like there's a good chance unless it's on the power play, and it sucks when you feel reliant on the power play. And even in this series, the Canes have the second best PK in the league, and the Islanders have one of the worst power plays in the league. So even the power play isn't helping. I watch these games and I'm like, how can the Islanders score? They can never score in this game. And to your point, Dan, hey Bo, are you having fun? You have no points. Is this more fun than Vancouver? Because you have not participated in the playoffs.
Bo Horvat talking shit to Vancouver fans, saying it's so nice to be in a city that has playoff hockey. Buddy, you haven't even played yet.
Come on down to the party, Bo.
You have 0 points, dude.
Let's have a good time.
You're the big boy. You just signed a huge contract. You're their goal scorer now. I have an idea. Score a goal. Get a point. Do something. Because you're currently doing nothing.
Yep.
And that's not acceptable.
It's got to be the Sorokin show. It hasn't been yet.
Yeah.
Let's see if he turns it on at home.
All right, let's go
to the other 2-0 series.
No question, my most excited series to talk about.
And here's the one. You were eating shit on the Avs. Here's the one I'm eating shit on because I said Devils in 7. I was loving the Devils coming in, and they have been tuned up 5-1 twice.
Oh my God, dude. This is nothing short of shocking. If you had told me after 2 games at 2 games in Jersey, that this would be 2-0 Rangers, I would not have been shocked. I genuinely would not have been. We talked about many times the Devils are the best road team in the NHL.
Yep.
They are the best road team in the NHL, and they are headed to New York just across the little pond there, and they're going to play 2 games at MSG. Just how I said, I wouldn't have been shocked if you told me they'd be down 0-2 after 2 games in Jersey. I will not be shocked if this is 2-2 after 2 games at MSG. The Rangers have been the most trick-or-treat good team in the NHL this year. But boy, let me tell you, they look good. 2 5-1 wins. They are just golden showering Vitek Vanacek with goals, shots on net. Dude. He looks lost, dude. He looks like a lost puppy in the woods. He looks like fucking Will in Stranger Things running around the forest like a lost little moron.
Sucked into the upside down.
He's got
terrified.
His angles wrong. He's sitting back. When Patrick Kane got that little half breakaway and came down, Vanacek's ass is fully in the net.
He tucked into his little turtle shell and slid into the net.
I'm like, what are you doing? Are you afraid?
Dude, everything the Rangers could have ever wanted is going right. Shesty looks good. Kane has a goal. Bad Vlad has 2 goals. Kreider has 4 fucking goals and has more power play goals than any Ranger in history. They're getting I guess Jack scored, but otherwise, like, everyone in New Jersey's quiet. Everyone that they need to be good in New York is good. It's been a dream start.
Let me tell you what, dude. Most playoff goals in New York Rangers history, Chris Kreider with
power play, I think.
No, it is goals.
Wow.
Look up that stat, but I'm pretty certain it's goal. It's power play goals for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's goals in playoff history. Chris Kreider has 4 goals in 2 games, and he looks as dangerous as he looked last season when he scored 50.
Yep.
So you've got a lot of bad things going on if you're the Devils. Like,
dude,
everyone on the Rangers are cooking, and
we try to be pretty nice in the comments.
Yeah.
We post a video and someone goes, "That video sucks," I go, "Sorry. I thought it was funny, but I hope you like the next one," you know?
Yeah.
And I'm rarely out there trying to dog people and keep receipts. I want to go back through the tiers post right now and literally DM every single person who was like, Vitek is an elite goalie. How could you ever say this? And I was like, I wrote it down, dude.
For context, we posted a tiers Instagram post with Glue Guy Sports, and we put the Devils under the category that says, who is your goalie?
Yeah.
And Devils fans got big mad, saying, how could you disrespect Vitek like this? And I came in hot with the comments. I was like, he is 15 and 18 in save percentage and goals against in the NHL. That is straight down the middle.
Yeah.
You think that's good? Mid. Do you think that's winning you a cup?
Mid.
That's the definition of mid. How are you standing for this fucking guy? And, like, I get it. He's a fun dude. He's fun when he gets on the mic and post-game interviews and shit like that.
I love him.
That's great. I love Vitek, too.
I picked the Devils. I love the Devils. I want him to play well.
I'm not going to get mad about someone fucking trying to be like, Vitek's not good. Because I'd be like, correct. He's not great. Like, he's fine. He's just fine.
In my opinion, 3 things so far in this series have been proven, which a lot of people said have been proven right. One is that the Rags are full of a veteran squad that has been deep or has won cups, and they will know what to do in the playoffs. That has been proven right. 2, the Devils are not ready. They have no playoff experience. They cannot handle this. That has been proven right. It's not over. I'm just saying that has been proven right. And 3, it was that something we said, that Vitek has a bad playoff record. It's tiny, but this shit moved him to his career. He's 1 in 3 in the playoffs with an 8.41 save percentage and a 4.39 goals against.
Yeah.
That is a fucking travesty. You cannot play in the league with those numbers.
I have 2 hot takes to end out this series, if you're ready for them.
I am.
2 hot takes, and I hate to say this because, like you said, I'd like to say we're nice guys, we're positive guys. These are both negative things. 1, I think Rangers fans would like to sit here and say, uh-oh, the bad man coming.
Yep.
Igor's here.
Yeah.
He has 2, 1 goal against games. I don't think he's been tested at all.
Me neither.
I do not think I think the Devils are still asleep, dude.
The shots are low. Devils getting like 20 shots a game.
Super low. They don't have high danger chances. The one chance that Jack has had, he tucked.
Yep.
I don't think Igor's been tested.
Jack so much.
I do too. I don't think Igor's been tested at all. I think the Devils are still asleep in their cribs, sucking their thumbs.
Yep.
And when and if they wake up and get some shots on net and Igor only lets in 1 or gets a shutout, I will go, you're right, he's here.
Yep.
But he has not been tested, and I am curious if that cockiness for him is going to come into MSG, the Devils wake up because their backs are against it, and they pipe him. That will be interesting. So, my hot take 1.
Okay, yep.
Hot take 2. Dougie Hamilton
Oh, no. Oh, God.
is not a number 1 defenseman.
You were arguing for him to win the Norris the other week.
Dougie Hamilton is the most. He's the shiniest toy in the drawer. He is the purebred puppy with perfect spots,
Yeah.
looks symmetrical, but then he gets hip arthritis and tummy worms and dies at 8 years old.
He sits weird, and it destroys his hips.
This guy, I think, finished his year with something like 73 points.
At least, yeah.
He is an elite statistical defenseman in the NHL on one of the best teams in the league. I think this dude's mentality is so soft. I think there's something to be said about the fact that he's been on, 3-4 teams now? Is that right?
Yeah. Bees, Flames.
Flames, Carolina, and New Jersey.
4 teams, yeah.
He's been on 4 teams now. He's like 30 years old, maybe not even.
Yep.
I think there's something about him that isn't a locked in, I am going to be your hero as the number 1 defenseman guy. I think until he gets on a lineup that has a situation like Hedman and Sergachev, a situation like McAvoy and Lindholm, I just don't think he is going to carry your team as your number 1 D guy because I don't think he's mentally there. I don't think he's a killer. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not mad at him.
I love Dougie. I think he's a great player. I don't think he's a killer. I don't think he has that killer instinct.
Extremely quick takes to close this out. 1, the Devils had one of the best penalty kills in the league this year.
Yep.
It's the playoffs. No one likes a fucking show off. They took 7 penalties in game 2, and they got pumped by Kreider. Stay out of the fucking box. I don't care how good your penalty kill is.
Yeah.
There's no need to put it to the test. 2, last week, Dan, or earlier
Just
this
real
week,
quick on that topic, dude. If you were the Devils, man, and this goes to Dougie, dude. You can't let Chris Kreider pitch a tent in front of the net like he's
skip
doing.
in every fucking fuck
I mean,
that comes
fuck a tent,
anywhere near
dude.
him.
He's got a 2-bedroom condo in front of the net, and no one is doing anything about it. They're not clearing him out.
Rents out
They're
the other
not
room.
chopping him down.
Passive income.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
2, I told you earlier this week that kids are dangerous. You know what else they are?
Dumb.
Stupid, insecure, and scared. And right now, the Devils are about to get pantsed in Game 3. We could be talking sweep, dude. Like, I straight up picked the Devils in this series. We could be talking sweep.
If they lose Game 3 tomorrow, I really don't think that they can figure it out, dude.
Children are dumb.
Yeah. You're a scared little boy.
You're a scared little boy, and it's all over for you.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned.
This is the Cool Runnings moment. I see a lost little boy.
Yeah.
That's what you are if you lose Game 3.
Okay, we're going Leaf Lightning. Before you say anything, because I'll let you start this, I don't think there was a more shocking result so far in the playoffs than the Lightning beating the shit out of the Leafs in Game 1 in Toronto.
I completely disagree.
That was so fucking rattling, I couldn't believe my eyes.
I think the more shocking one is Game 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think the Leafs, after everything they've been through, I think them bouncing back in Game 2 and beating the shit out of the Lightning is more shocking. So again, like I said, it was surprising that the Bolts came out and tallywhacked the Maple Leafs. I did not expect that. We both picked the Maple Leafs in this series in 7. But like I said, I think the most surprising thing was Toronto responding.
Yep.
They came back at home, second game, won huge. And, frankly, that wasn't even close. They put 7 past Vazzy. He's got 10 past him now, too. We were giving Vitek shit.
Dude, yes.
Vazzy's let in 10 as well. But you always say, I kind of love it, Vazzy refuses to get pulled in those situations. He wants it. He wants the smoke.
Dude, he took all 7 on the chin, wiped his mouth, and he's coming back out for fucking game 3. And Dan, what he said, which is so sick, is he goes, it gives me more looks at their shots. I want to see where these guys are shooting the puck. The more looks I can get at that, the better. That's why he's a sick person.
He's a pervert, dude. But at the same time, I love the mentality, because you're right. He's like, no, dude, don't fucking pull me. This game is dead. Let me get my reps in. Let me take my fucking beating, and I'll come back stronger. And he does. He's historically done just that.
It was great because for the Leafs fans, dude, to see Tampa score inside of 2 minutes, get lit up by 7, Samsonov gets pulled. The nightmare was playing out in real time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God,
yeah.
I thought this was the year and it's all over. To respond the way they did, Marner's going, Nylander's going, Johnny Toedrags gets 2 in his hometown city, living his fucking childhood dream. That was a necessary response.
He got the Hattie, dude.
He got the Hattie.
Yeah.
And dude, I think I said this to you maybe before we were recording, but the scary thing, I told you earlier this week, Tampa has the best home record in the league.
Yeah.
Toronto has the third best, but Tampa has the second best home record in the league, and all they had to do was get 1 in Toronto.
Boom.
Mission accomplished.
Job done.
John Cooper doesn't give a fuck if they lost game 2. He wanted to win game 2, but if they're going to lose, he doesn't give a fuck if they lose 1-0 or 50-0.
Yeah.
He got his 1, and he comes back, and the Tampa Bay Lightning are fucking salivating, are fucking slowly stroking off the thought
spitting
of going
in the hand, dude, getting it lubed up,
dude. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but this was their dream. They wanted this chance, they earned this chance, and now they might do it. And Toronto is a fucking crazed animal right now. There's no promises, but John Cooper and the Lightning wanted to take 1 to get this opportunity, and they have it.
Yeah, it's true. I was rattled to see. We've talked everything about this series. It's crazy. 2 insane games. You're so right. Tampa has the upper hand right now. They're headed home. They're unbelievable at home. This looks tough for the Maple Leafs. Everything to me comes down to Hedman and Cernak. Hedman and Cernak are hurt. They missed game 2. They got the fucking doors blown off.
You think you noticed the difference in that one when you were missing those two boys?
Got the absolute doors blown off
Jesus
them.
Christ.
So it's interesting now. You'll see how that goes. You'll see if they suit up for game 3. If they do, I think you feel really good if you're Tampa. The one last thing I want to touch on in this series before we move on is the Michael Bunting suspension.
Yeah.
Game 1, Bunting, really dirty hit. I'm not saying intentional, but got up high, catches Cernak. That's what knocks Cernak out. He gets a 3.
Is it conky or what's he out with? I didn't even
3-game sussy. I think it's a conky.
For Cernak. Did you see what happened?
I think it was a conky, but Bunting with a 3-game sussy. Feels a little harsh, but at the same time, I'm a big believer in if you knock a guy out of a series, you have to get more than 1 game. We've said before, I think it should be as long as Cernak is out, Bunting is out.
I actually love that. I wish they did that.
Because it's fucked up, dude. I mean, again, I don't think Bunting had any malintent with the hit, but Bunting's been kind of wires crossed all season, dude. He's fucking fighting with refs. He is getting in scraps left, right, and center. Now he knocks Cernak out with a really, really ugly hit. Interesting to keep an eye on. He's obviously not coming back until game 5.
Yes. And they obviously, when you had said Toronto is so top 6 heavy, so when they lost the top 6 guy, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude, they're dead. And obviously they kicked the shit out of Tampa without him. But again, it was the lack of the issue probably.
Hedman and Cernak is everything.
On the Bunting thing, he just has no history with suspensions or anything like that.
No, he's not a dirty player at all.
So for me, and I'd be livid if Cernak misses 3 games and Bunting got nothing if I was a Lightning fan.
Yeah.
But that did feel harsh for me for a guy with no history. If that's Marchand, how funny was
Kadri got in the mix,
he's like, yo, leave me out of it.
Yeah,
dude.
One fucking talk to me right now.
Such a funny response.
No,
dude.
it's true.
And he deserved every single one of the games Kadri got. So it was just so funny to see that. But if it was a Kadri, I'm like, yeah, he gets 3 games. But that felt harsh for me for a guy with no history. Yeah, the elbow was high, but it wasn't.
We've talked about this, dude. I think there's merit in if you have history of suspensions before, it should play a factor. I don't really like that.
Yeah.
It's just all about the one hit.
One play, yeah.
But like we said, this series comes down to injuries. Perfect transition into our last one. We're finally going to talk about, I was
just going to finish with, if Hedman doesn't come back, I think this is like 5 games. This isn't like we'll see what happens. I'm like, this is over.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, if they don't get those guys back, you're fucking dead.
No, it looks tough. Thanks for ruining my transition, but I'll just jump right back into
I
it.
was leaving that with Cutter.
All right, we're getting into your Boston Bruins. The Harp in Boston here. This game is split 1-1. Bruins are dealing with the fact that there's a stomach bug going around the team. Patrice Bergeron announced before Game 1 is not playing. Ullmark was up and down. Bruins get a win in the first game. We talked about it last pod. They looked a little sluggish, and then we come in Game 2 and get the doors blown off them by the Florida Panthers. Huge statement win, 6-3 at the end of it. It was never really close. The Bees got some back here and there. Turnover for Marchand's goal. Power play deflected in off of Bert's foot for the second, but after that, it was just not close. Florida ran away with it. It has just been announced that Bergeron is not playing in Game 3. He's not playing in Game 4.
Didn't even travel, yeah.
Ullmark is a game-time decision. I don't know if that's injury or sickness. No reason to panic. You split, whatever. You're headed down to Florida today. What do you got? What are you feeling like if you're the Bruins?
I think it's if you're Boston, it's a tough time in the year to all of a sudden play the worst hockey you've played all season, to be completely frank.
Which is what they're doing.
That team in Game 2, we both were like, yeah, they were sluggish in Game 1, which they were, but whatever. In Game 2, that team was unrecognizable. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic.
No,
that
it
was an unrecognizable
It was
hockey
without
team.
question the worst game of hockey they have played all season long.
It's like they've
not
never
just
been in
the
the playoffs
calendar year of 2023, all season long.
Pucks, dude, might level panic pucks up the middle from your D zone. It was insane.
No, turnovers all over the ice, stupid decisions, low hustle plays. They did not look like this Bruins team.
They didn't win a single race. They didn't win a single puck battle. Florida came out here. Dude, they were embracing this David and Goliath thing.
Absolutely.
You said it best, dude. There was a President's Trophy team last year.
Yep.
Obviously, there was big changes, but that team is a good team.
Yep.
They got Bennett back. They're getting production from the guys, Montour, Verhaeghe, Matty Tkachuk. The guys they need production from, they're getting production from, and they are ready for this, dude. They believe they can win. You always say that. In that locker room, they're like, we're going to win this series.
Ekblad is beating the shit out of Marchand in front of the net. He had an unbelievable Game 1, an even better Game 2. Florida looks great. And you know what my favorite thing about Florida is so far in this series? Matty Tkachuk talked to after the win. He sounds so humble.
Yeah,
he sounds so calm and collected. He said a number of times after a huge statement win in Boston, he was like, listen, they're an incredible hockey team over there, but we know that we can play, and that's all that we're going to do. And the big thing I would be worried about if I'm Boston right now, there's a few things. Bergeron being out is terrible.
Yes.
Ullmark being a question mark is terrible. I would not feel comfortable about how much you lost your heads at the end of that game.
Yeah.
You have not seen this Bruins team, and again, they lost, 10 games all year? But you have not seen that Bruins team all season lose their cool like they lost at the end of that game. People fighting. Trent Frederick saying he's getting choked out in a fight at the end of the game. They snapped. Wires crossed. They're frustrated. They're pissed. So congratulations, Panthers. You have frustrated this Bruins team. The greatest regular season team in NHL history. You are under their skin. So we'll see tonight if Boston really just shakes that game off and goes, fuck it. It's over. Let's go out. We're the second best away team in the NHL. We're going to go. We're going to win. It is what it is. You split the series with this team. Is that right? Did they go 2-2? Or?
Yeah, Florida won both in Florida during the regular season.
Yeah.
So this is a place you haven't won yet this year.
So you've got to answer here. You've got to respond. Before we move on from it, I think the big question here, like we talked about with Minnesota, is what do you do with the goalie situation if you're Boston?
That's the thing I really wanted to talk about. And like you said, we don't know. There's been no report yet on what Ullmark's deal is, because if he's hurt, he's hurt. Nothing you can do. But Swayman had such a good season. I didn't not, sorry for the double negative, not expect to see Swayman during these playoffs.
Yeah.
I figured they'd give Ullmark a break. And in fact, if we had won Game 2 and played well, and they started Swayman today, I wouldn't be rattled at all. You might be because you're taking Ullmark's mojo, but I was like...
I stand by my take. I would say stay with Ullmark, but I would... If you were 2-0 going in and you go like this, now you got to deal with Swayman.
Yeah.
I'd be like this, that's cocky and cool. I like it.
Give Ullmark a break.
Yeah.
But Ullmark, people forget, lost his 2 playoff games last year.
Yeah.
He has no playoff experience. He came out and played fine in Game 1, but then he didn't play that well in Game 2.
No.
I thought that 2-pad jammer was like a ludicrous save.
Desperation move, like slide over the crease, dude.
So you're telling me if he's not hurt, and you're telling me they're going, okay, so Linus, you are now 1-3 in your playoff career. You're coming off of your first bad game this season, basically, and you were pulled for Swayman. If Swayman loses tonight and Ullmark's not hurt, and now we're down 2-1 in Florida for Game 4, and what are you like going back to Linus? That is like, Dan, I said earlier, people were saying the Wild's decision was the most baffling coaching decision of all time. If Ullmark isn't hurt and Swayman starts tonight, this is the most baffling coaching decision I've ever seen.
I think it's absolutely insane. Again, it comes down to injury. If Ullmark is injured, then maybe okay. I'm also kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How are you injured? But that's neither here nor there. I agree. If you put in Swayman right now, you run the risk of Swayman losing on the road, where we haven't won all season, like you said, and now you have two goalies who are now on a losing streak. Both of their confidence is not ruined, not shot, but it's affected. And now you have two losing goalies going into a must-win Game 4. I think it would be absolutely moronic. You're right. Just like Minnesota, the Boston have done the tandem all season long. And frankly, dude, Ullmark and Swayman are two top 5 goalies in the NHL by every single metric. So going with Swayman is not a like, what are you doing situation. He's amazing.
Part of
it is the mental part that I think would be such a bizarre decision. I could not wrap my head around it. So I think it's absolutely monumental what Boston does tonight.
It's crazy to say this, but Boston, back when they won the Cup too, and any good run the Bruins team, this Bruins core has had, it's really come from great depth. Those bottom 2 lines are good. And for the first 2 games in this series, I have felt like a team that I thought had a ton of lower tier depth is being exposed a little bit. There are guys on the 4th line. There are some bottom pair D guys that I'm like, yo, you have been bad. Grizzlick's back in the lineup tonight. I think the coaches are seeing what we're seeing. But it's crazy to say this, but it does feel like right now, with Bergeron out especially, you kind of need some guys to fucking slap their dick on the ice right now. I need Pasta and Marchand and fucking Taylor Hall and Krejci.
I think McAvoy
guys to be like this. Yo, I got you.
I think McAvoy. To me, the biggest tests the biggest show up performances tonight need to be Lindholm and McAvoy.
Yeah.
I think those two have been 2 top 10, top 5 defensemen in the NHL this season. You just let in 6 goals in Game 2. You guys need to really stand the fuck up tonight. I'm excited to see McAvoy playing with Grizzlick. I think the closing thing I'll say tonight is I do not think this is must-win for Boston.
Me neither.
If you lose this game, I don't think you panic. I don't think you freak out. You are the best team in the league. Calm the fuck down. Relax. You obviously want to win this game. But the biggest thing is you need to wake up tonight.
Yes.
You looked awful in Game 2. You cannot look off. You can't look awful anywhere tonight. If you lose, close game, lose in overtime, you're fine. I really think you're fine. I'm not saying that due to an allegiance to Boston. It's just you guys have been nails all season. You've responded well to the small pieces of adversity this season. It's not must win, but it is must change. You need to change the way that you're playing because even in the win, a 3-1 win in Game 1, you didn't look amazing.
No, not at all.
So I think a lot of guys need to fucking change the way they're skating, change the way they're playing. Wipe Game 2 out of your memory, have a new mentality, and come out and play the Bruins hockey you've been playing all season.
We both said we expected at least one, well, I think we said one, Florida win this series.
Yeah.
And we both said, and I hope it happens because that's the wake-up call you need in the playoffs sometimes.
Yeah.
Here's your chance.
Yeah.
Was it a wake-up call, or are you kind of fucked right now?
Yeah.
And you can get out of this series being kind of fucked, by the way, because Florida isn't that good and the Bees are good, and they could win this thing in 7 and look fucked the whole time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not actually worried until the Bruins have 3 losses. If they lose tonight, I'm like, all right, whatever. But it would be nice to see them wake up and play playoff hockey because, similar to the Devils, they haven't played playoff hockey yet once.
Exactly.
In this round. It's 2 fucking games, but they have not played playoff hockey once.
And that's where I give tons of credit to Florida. I think you played great playoff hockey in Game 2.
Dominant game.
Your players are looking sharp. You look confident. Confident as the last team squeaking into the playoffs. So massive stick taps to the Florida Panthers. I think it's honestly you got to be most excited about the way you've played in that Game 2 more than you have all season.
Yep.
So huge credit to them.
Incredible slate tonight, guys.
Unbelievable stuff.
Like we're saying, every series, every game, we're all over it.
Yeah. This episode will drop on Saturday, so if you're listening on Saturday, we got a great slate of games on Saturday, too.
Check the stories, check the Twitter.
Yeah.
We're all over it. We're here with you guys. We're going on this ride.
Unbelievable stuff, guys. We are so pumped to be here at the Harp. Huge thank you to the Harp. This has been an absolute fucking blast. Now let's get into some unreal playoff hockey.
What a venue. Let's have a watch party, eh? Skate hard.
Skate hard.